Hello everyone. Today's video is about using neurofeedback to help a case of chronic insomnia. As per usual, nothing I'm saying should be construed as medical advice. This is for informational purposes only. If you need medical advice, please talk to your healthcare provider to get that advice. And if at some point you wouldn't mind taking a quick moment to please like, share, subscribe, and or post a quick comment on the video, I'd really appreciate it. So thanks in advance for taking a second to do that. So I followed up with a patient recently, and she's had a really great response to neurofeedback, and I'm excited about it, so I wanted to post a video about this. So this patient had been struggling with insomnia for many years. She was doing everything right, in terms of sleep hygiene, reducing exposure to bright lights after, certain, after supper time, using blue blocking glasses, going, kind of getting ready for bed, having some downtime for a good 30 to 45 minutes before bedtime, not doing anything overly stimulating leading up to bed, trying to, have the darkest sleep environment possible, the quietest sleep environment possible. So doing all the right things, and was still having a heck of a time with sleep. Those changes, those interventions, they helped to some extent, but it was just still really unpredictable, really erratic, oftentimes only getting a few hours of sleep per night, sometimes getting maybe 6 hours of sleep, but just really, erratic, difficult sleep issues. So she had come in to work with me for other reasons, but certain issues related to digestive function, some energy issues, like fatigue issues, things like that. But of course, part of the intake process is going over everything to do with my patient's health, and so the sleep issue came up. And so we were making some good headway on the digestive front, on the energy level front, and energy still wasn't perfect because sleep was still off kilter, but we started talking more about sleep. And so as we started chatting, came up that she was having some issues with anxiety, a lot of rumination, a lot of thoughts running through her head, especially when she'd wake up at nighttime. And so we decided to do a brain map, a QEEG test, quantitative electroencephalogram, and so we did the brain map, and we saw that there was a lot of sympathetic nervous system activation, a lot of excessive beta wave activity in her right hemisphere, saw a lot of beta brainwave activity in general, and we decided to start doing some neurofeedback. So she did, I think it was about 5 or 6 neurofeedback sessions, started noticing benefit. We ended up doing 10 sessions in total. We did another brain map, and things looked markedly better, as they oftentimes do after doing several neurofeedback sessions. And she reported that her sleep was doing just great. There's maybe some little blips here and there still, but almost every night, sleeping really well, clocking 7 or 8 hours of sleep. What she relayed to me recently, because her sleep is still doing well, she finished up her neurofeedback maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and she reported that, or maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Anyways, late 2024, she finished that up, and she is still doing really well with her sleep. And what was really great is that she relayed to me that, it's all really great, but one of the things that really just struck a chord with me was that she said, I used to really kind of, not maybe dread is too strong of a word, but she really didn't look forward to going to sleep, because she's like, I just never know what I'm going to get. Am I going to get 3 hours? Am I maybe going to get 6 if I'm lucky? It was just, such a crapshoot. Whereas now she's like, I look forward to going to bed because I know I'm going to have a good sleep, and it's just really made such a positive impact on her life. Energy levels are doing well. It's really great. Just wanted to share that story, that, very successful case of neurofeedback, helping with the case of chronic insomnia. She also reported that, just kind of stress and anxiety, she feels calmer overall, stress and anxiety levels are lower, which makes sense. And sleep is just doing so well. So if you're listening to this video and you've made it to this point of the video and you're like, oh, this is interesting, but what is neurofeedback? What is this brain mapping? I do have another video that's available on all of the social media platforms where I post videos. But if you go to my YouTube channel, I just plug in, my name, Brian Raid, and neurofeedback or QEEG or brain map or something like that. Then I did a podcast episode about this probably a year ago, a little over a year ago now, where I talk all about, brain mapping, neurofeedback, what it is, how it works, all that good stuff. We do have a write-up on our website as well, eastcoastnaturopathic.com. And then there are also many other folks out there who do brain mapping and neurofeedback, and they have informational videos out there too. But in a nutshell, with Brain mapping, we essentially put what looks like a glorified shower cap on the patient's head. It's got all these sensors inlaid in that shower cap, and those sensors read the patient's brain waves. That's picked up by the computer software, and all that data is turned into a color-coded picture of their brain. That's called a brain map. And based on that information, we can get some good insight into whether there are any brainwave imbalances, reflecting nervous system imbalances that are potentially having a negative impact on their health. So whether it's contributing to their insomnia, their anxiety, their depression, OCD, remnants of PTSD, chronic pain issues, migraines. There's a number of different neurodegenerative conditions. There's like a number of different health conditions that are correlated with different brainwave abnormalities or imbalances. And so, armed with that information, then we can work with a tailored neurofeedback protocol to help try to balance out or regulate those brainwave imbalances that we see, to try to make everything look as nice and tidy as possible on a follow-up brain map. And as we bring those brainwaves back into balance, then a majority of patients, in my experience, they report that they see improvements. So seeing improvements with their mood, with their stress levels, sleep issues, etc. I find that the neurofeedback and brain mapping has been a really huge asset in my patient population, because many of my patients, the majority of them, are dealing with complex chronic illness, and that complex chronic illness unfortunately has a really notable impact in many cases on a patient's nervous system regulation. I posted other videos about things like the Safe and Sound protocol, about primal trust. I've done a few podcast interviews about those topics as well. So if you're interested in learning more, please keyword search those words and in my YouTube channel, search bar or whatever, and see those interviews if you're so inclined. But the nervous system nervous system dysregulation has been, I would say, very much the rule as opposed to the exception in my patient population. And then doing work to help regulate the nervous system can be very, very helpful. Neurofeedback is one tool that's available. It's not the only tool by any stretch, but it can be really, really helpful. And I think it's just something worth knowing about. So I wanted to post a video about it today. If you yourself have had any experience with neurofeedback, brain mapping, anything like that, you feel like sharing that, be very curious to know about your experience in the comment section below. And if you have any questions about this topic or anything else, just post in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer as soon as I can.